What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Andre here. So two things. Well, actually that's four. Two things, or like a normal person, two. First, an anecdote, and then a little bit of a story, and then we'll get on to our feature presentation. First, the anecdote. This channel was actually started like 2 years ago almost, or at least that was the idea, was to start it about 2 years ago. I bought camera equipment, lights, and did a bunch of videos as sort of like a test run. Didn't go great. The lighting was bad. I clearly didn't understand how to use the camera or how to set things up properly. And so it took a lot of repetition to kind of get to the point at which we now find ourselves, which I think is, yeah, much better. During that time, I shot a bunch of videos, like I said, that were sort of like a test case. You know, just sit down in front of the camera, start talking, and then eventually go out into the world and wander around, you know, with a camera stuck in your face, just talking to it like a crazy person. That was a little bit awkward to start off with. I mean, it's awkward sitting here in an empty room talking directly to a camera to begin with. But then when you're walking down a street and people are looking at you like, what the is that guy doing? You learn over time that no one really cares. You just kind of go out and do what you're gonna do, and people see you, and then they completely go right back to what they were doing before, because ultimately people really mostly focus on themselves. So that's the anecdote. Now for the story. Most of you know, I think, that many years ago, I was a bit of a child actor and was in at least one noteworthy movie called 0 Day, which, you know, warning, if you feel triggered by coarse language, violent situations, or depictions of violence in general, not the movie for you. You probably should not watch it. With that said, the movie has developed somewhat of a cult following over the years, and as a result of that, I get, you know, 1 or 2 Twitter or Instagram DMs, probably like a week, probably like a half dozen a month total, asking various questions, which I'm always happy to answer, and I think any of you who are watching and have also asked questions can attest to that. So what I thought it would be fun to do back when I was doing those test videos was to make sort of a Q&A response video. Fast forward to this week, I have been completely swamped with a ton of work, not least of which is submitting our new film to film festivals, which takes up more time than you would think. I just didn't get to a point writing the new video for this week where I felt comfortable actually shooting it. So instead, I set up all this stuff to shoot like what's gonna amount to a 2-minute intro for one of the videos from like 2 years ago. So it's not gonna look great. The sound's gonna be a little bit off. The backgrounds are blown out because I didn't understand ISO back then. But it does answer some of those questions that get asked pretty regularly, and hopefully it can start a conversation between me and all of you out there down in the comments or, you know, on the socials, and just kind of, you know, set some of those questions down, answer them, and then kind of use that as a starting point to have a longer form conversation with people about, you know, what's coming next and what are we doing. Yeah, so there you go. That's it. Stay tuned at the end of the video, and we will talk again. What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. I wanted to take some time to come down to the Arboretum, wander around, take some pictures. But before we start answering your 0 Day questions, I wanted to make sure that we could get a quick history lesson in. I'm standing at the Capitol columns, which used to stand at the east portico of the Capitol building itself. The rest of the east portico was torn apart and dumped like trash in Rock Creek Park, which is on the complete opposite end of town. These columns are the actual columns that stood at the actual Capitol building, but none of this is interesting to you. That's not why you're here today. We're here to answer 0 Day questions, so I'm gonna go wander around the woods and answer those questions. Okay, so the first question I get, the biggest question, the most popular question that I get asked is, have you done any other stuff? Is there anywhere else that we can see your work? Short answer to that is not really. A few years ago, I did a web series that I wrote, directed, produced, created, and worked with a lot of really cool people on, called The Peculiar Case of Formula 12. think is what we called it. It was a long title. It was a play on Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It's not hosted on this channel right now, but I probably should revise all those episodes, remaster them, and repost them. But no, and I think that it kind of came down to a couple different factors. First, people didn't want to cast me and stuff, which, you know, is always a big hurdle to overcome. The other was that Zero Day came out and was getting all of its theatrical release heat, all of its popularity, right about the time I was starting undergrad. I think my mom was probably really scared that I was going to drop out and become some kind of drug addict or degenerate. So she begged me to stay in school, which I decided ultimately to do. I don't regret that so much, but it certainly had an impact on things. I think being in DC and being away from, you know, casting directors and agents in New York and LA was a big hindrance. But ultimately, you know, things worked out the way they worked out, and I look at YouTube as an opportunity to make my own stuff, be creative, and get stuff out into the world. And if it leads somewhere, if it goes somewhere bigger, that'd be awesome. That'd be fantastic. And if not, f it, I don't care. I'm just doing what I want to do and putting stuff out there. And if nobody watches it, well, then nobody watches it. But the point is, I still made it, and I still got to have fun doing it. Another question I get really often is, what are you doing now? Where have you been? What are you going to do something that we can see? What's next? And the answer to that is, you know, I've been doing a lot of weird stuff, man. The most interesting thing was certainly my time as a U.S. Army Special Forces contractor and instructor. I have a very specific academic and practical skill set and interest in something called illicit finance, which is, you know, the movements of money to support crime and, you know, clandestine operations. And so because of that sort of expertise and my adjacency to that stuff, I became very handy to have around for a little while, kind of a convenient nerd to have behind the keyboard, kind of understood a lot of the spooky stuff, but then also understood numbers and business. So I did that for a while, and actually I've often wondered whether there's a conspiracy theorist somewhere whose head is exploding to the fact that the kid from the school shooting movie became a contractor for Army Special Forces. As for what's coming next, over the years I've worked on a lot of different stuff, screenplays, short film scripts, all sorts of things, but other things that I was doing specifically in that special operations realm kind of precluded me from being able to pursue any of that stuff, but that is all over now. And so the whole purpose of this channel is to kind of try to get back into the creative swing of things, try to motivate myself to be creating things, to be learning everything from, you know, lighting to Adobe Premiere and how to shoot B-roll and all sorts of stuff, just so that I can be a more technically conversant and skilled creator, so that when the time comes to start doing scripted content again, which is going to be soon, very soon, hopefully, it'll be a smoother process and the product will ultimately be of a higher quality. Another question I get a lot is how often do you talk to Ben and Cal, specifically Cal, but also Ben, the writer and creator, director of Zero Day. Yeah, I mean, I talk to them, you know, pretty consistently. Cal I talk to less than Ben. Ben and I are actually in the same online video gaming group. We play a ton of stuff. Several days a week, definitely. There's one night a week that we always play, regardless of what's going on in everyone's life. Everyone logs on, which is really cool, and we've been doing it for 6 or 7 years, so it's pretty consistent. But then we play pickup games throughout the week, everything from PUBG to Overwatch, Rainbow Six Siege, even stuff like what is it called, Tricky Towers, for a respite to get a break from some of the more kinetic action and shoot 'em up stuff. Cal I don't talk to as much as I'd like to, so Cal, if you're watching this, we should talk more. We've worked on some scripts and concepts together that, because of my schedule and all sorts of nonsense going on in my life, didn't really work out to come together. But he is just a brilliant cinematographer and writer, and has been really wonderful in helping me get stuff moving further along. I'm like walking through a bunch of mud right now. It's really gross and slippery. Okay. But hopefully, in the very near future, we will all be working together on some shorts. So that all depends. You know, Cal lives in Connecticut, Ben's out in California again, and I'm back down here in DC. So it's hard to get everyone together physically. Another question is, what was your favorite part of making 0 Day? And I would say that probably the coolest part of it was that, we were able to get, a very small group of people together and make something really, really cool and very different and unique. I just thought that it was really special to get a small group of people together and start making stuff with, digital high-8 cameras. We were still using physical tapes. Now, obviously, the idea of making a small budget movie with your friends is it's second nature. You can imagine what it would have been like, 3, 4, 5 years before YouTube, to be out making a feature film on camcorders that you bought at Best Buy. It was unheard of back then, and we were able to make it happen, which was really, really cool and impressive. The fact that Ben was able to mastermind all of this and pull it all together with two really annoying, irritating 16-year-old boys. Taken out of context, that might sound a little different, but I think my favorite overall part of the actual filming process was probably the 2 or 3 days that we spent shooting that massive shooting sequence, because we had a proper crew. We had people there that were running cables, and we had lighting people, and we had all sorts of stuff there that was making a really big difference. It wasn't just a couple people driving around in a car in the suburbs of Connecticut, but rather there was a whole team of people getting in place and pulling together to make this thing happen, including a massive cast of extras who were just phenomenal, and many have gone on to do really impressive stuff, including I think a podcast about crime called S-Town. I had never been on a set like that. I'd never been in an environment like that. I think Cal had done some TV and larger scale, proper movies at that point, so it wasn't necessarily as new or fancy for him as it was for me. But I thought it was really interesting, really fun, exhausting, and just like really weird to go home to your parents' house after that and go back to your teenager bedroom after having been sort of the center of attention all day. And it was a very strange transition, but the next morning I was cleaning out gutters or like waterproofing shingles or something, so my parents didn't give me too much time to get a big head about it. One of the other questions, and probably I think the last one I'll talk about for today, just because we're running out of time, is can we be your friends on Facebook? Can we DM you on Twitter or whatever? Absolutely, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at @OhThatAndre, and I'll throw that up on the screen, and it's probably down in the notes as well. Those are both public feeds. I'd love to hear anything you guys have to say. I'm going to be trying to be a little bit better about posting stuff there more regularly now that this channel's up and running, and trying to be more engaged with folks. So if there are ideas for videos, questions you have, I know what that's like, and trying to get engaged with the people who are making the stuff you really enjoy. So by all means, hit me up, because I want to hear everything that you guys have to say. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. You can definitely see what I mean about the fact that it was kind of blown out background, sound wasn't quite there. If I had a microphone, I don't even know that it was properly plugged in at the time. I probably tried. If I did, I don't know. But you had questions, I had answers, which, is that like a commercial slogan? Is it? It sounds like it would be. Maybe it's not. Probably is. Maybe, who knows? If you like this video, stroke the like button, just a little, left to right, up and down, circular pattern, whatever you like, just kind of give it a little, there it is. That's what we do here on this channel. We just give it a little stroke, a little poke, whatever it takes. If you want to subscribe, you want to see more videos like this, smash the subscribe button, smack it, smash it, punch it, twist it, whatever you need to do, just hit the subscribe button. And if you feel like you really need to get a notification when these videos come up, hit the bell. That's what it's there for. It goes ding, 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 and you get a notification. That's exactly what happens too, by the way. It goes ding, ding, ding. It's weird. It was a weird choice on Google's part to do that, but they know what they're doing, I think. All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching, and you will see me in the next video. Oh, you guys, I think it just started raining, and I am lost in the Arboretum.